Everyone wants discipline until it demands they become a different person. Work ethic isn't built in your habits, it's built in your identity. The reason most people stay inconsistent isn't because they're lazy. It's because they're trying to achieve high-level results with a low-level self-image. You can't outwork the story you tell yourself. If you still see yourself as someone who tries, you'll never become someone who executes. If you see discipline as something you do, you'll abandon it the moment life gets hard. But when discipline becomes who you are, failure becomes uncomfortable, and effort becomes automatic. The world will tell you to stay motivated. That's weak advice. Motivation is a mood, and moods collapse. Identity doesn't. You don't rise to your goals. You fall to your standards, and your standards are built from the identity you reinforce every day through the work you're willing or unwilling to do. If you want a strong life, you need a strong identity. And if you want a strong identity, you need a work ethic that scares your old self into extinction. Let's break it open. Your work ethic starts long before you touch a task. It starts with who you believe yourself to be. Your identity is the invisible ceiling that decides how far you can climb, how hard you push, and how quickly you quit. Most people fail not because the work is too hard, but because the person they think they are isn't built to carry the weight they're trying to lift. If your identity is built on comfort, you'll chase shortcuts. If it's built on excuses, you'll justify every delay. If it's built on insecurity, you'll only work when someone is watching. But when your identity is built on self-respect, the entire game changes. You stop negotiating with yourself. You stop needing motivation. You stop performing for validation. You work because it aligns with who you are, not because you feel like it. Identity sets the tone of your life. If you see yourself as disciplined, you act disciplined. If you see yourself as someone with standards, you live by those standards. If you see yourself as someone who finishes what they start, quitting feels like betrayal, not relief. This is why high performers aren't relying on hype. They're living out a role they forged through pressure, repetition, and self-control. Their identity isn't emotional, it's engineered. And if you're actively trying to understand why you sabotage progress, why you struggle to stay consistent, or why your work ethic collapses under pressure, remember to download the audiobook of Surviving the Toxic Bond. It breaks down the psychology of identity, self-sabotage, emotional wiring, and the patterns that keep you stuck. If you prefer studying while you listen, the ebook matches it perfectly. Download link is in my bio. When your identity is weak, your work ethic dies the moment life challenges you. When your identity is strong, your work ethic becomes automatic, like breathing. Every action either reinforces who you're becoming or who you refuse to be anymore. Work ethic is not the grind, it's the mirror. And it shows you exactly who you are, whether you want to see it or not. Your identity doesn't just shape your work ethic. Your work ethic reshapes your identity. This is the part people underestimate. They wait to feel like a stronger person, instead of doing the work that would make them one. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, your identity shifts. Every time you show up when you don't want to, your identity upgrades. Every time you push through resistance, you create proof that you're becoming someone different. Identity is built through repetition, not intention. You can read every book, watch every motivational video, set every goal, but nothing changes until your actions give your mind new evidence to believe in. You become disciplined by acting disciplined. You become resilient by refusing to fold. You become focused by sitting through boredom without running back to distraction. You become the stronger version of yourself by killing off the weaker version through consistency. This is why work ethic is the foundation of transformation. It rewires your self-image at the cellular level. It builds self-trust, the most underrated form of confidence. Because once you know you can rely on yourself, the world loses its power over you. The mind can't argue with evidence. If you prove through action that you're someone who shows up, who executes, who follows through, your identity has no choice but to evolve around that reality. This is how work ethic becomes identity, and identity becomes destiny. When you keep going long after motivation dies, your brain stops seeing discipline as effort and starts seeing it as your nature. You stop feeling like you're trying to get better, and you start feeling like you're simply acting in alignment with who you are. That's the shift. Not louder effort, not more hype, not bigger goals, just a quieter, heavier knowing. I don't break character. Not today, not ever. That's identity, and that is what makes your work ethic unstoppable. A work ethic that lasts isn't built on hype. It's built on structure. If your discipline depends on how you feel, you've already lost. A real work ethic survives boredom, exhaustion, doubt, failure, and pressure. Because it isn't emotional, it's engineered. Here's the truth. Your life will rise or fall based on the systems you build, not the intensity you occasionally feel. 1. Build non-negotiables. Most people treat their goals like options. That's why they remain inconsistent. Your non-negotiables are the daily actions you execute, whether you're inspired, tired, stressed, or broken. They become the backbone of your identity. 2. Reduce decisions. Discipline collapses under decision fatigue. When you remove choice, you remove weakness. Your routine should be so clean that you don't waste mental energy debating whether to work. You only decide how to work. 3. Create friction for weakness. Remove friction for strength. Put obstacles between you and your distractions. Remove obstacles between you and your goals. Your environment should make discipline easier than avoidance. 4. Track proof, not perfection. Perfection is a trap that kills momentum. Proof is what builds identity. Record what you did, even if it wasn't pretty. Every checkmark is a brick in the identity you're constructing. 5. Embrace the boring reps. Nothing builds identity like consistency in boredom. Anyone can grind when motivated. Very few can grind when it's repetitive, quiet, and unseen. That's where legends are built. 6. Don't announce, execute. Talking drains the energy you need to act. 7. Make your identity heavier than your excuses. When the identity you're building means more to you than the comfort you're leaving behind, discipline becomes instinct. You stop asking, "Do I feel like it?" You start saying, "This is who I am." This is the real blueprint, not motivation, not hype, not believe in yourself nonsense. It's the architecture of a self you can rely on. A self that doesn't fold. A self that holds the line when everyone else breaks. Build a work ethic that reflects who you want to become, and your identity will rise to match it. When your identity is forged, your work ethic becomes unbreakable. And once that happens, your future stops being a dream and becomes something you're already walking into. If you're rebuilding your identity and sharpening your discipline, don't stop at motivation. Go deeper. Study the emotional wiring behind self-sabotage, pressure, and identity shifts. It's all broken down in the audiobook of Surviving the Toxic Bond. And if you want to follow along while you listen, the ebook sits perfectly beside it. The download link is in my bio. If this message cut through the noise, sharpen the algorithm too. Like the video, drop a comment, subscribe, and share it so this mindset reaches the people who need it. Stay disciplined, stay focused, protect your peace,